Hello guys and welcome to my channel. Today we will be talking about Italy. Italy is a pretty hard country to reach and guess. I always struggle with it and note how well covered it is from Sicily to Sardinia and to the northern parts. It's pretty well covered, so you might get a point anywhere in the country. So I usually just send northern Italy and then I get punished severely for my mistakes if it's, for example, a point somewhere next to Palermo. So I decided to run the algorithm similar to the previous three episodes. First of all, we of course started with obtaining a nice map of Italy, and note how there is a hole here. It's not a lake, it's San Marino, and please forgive us for not excluding Vatican, which would be probably a couple pixels wide. It would not affect the results at all. So as usual, we start testing many points, and for each point we run 5,000 trials to see which points are optimal, including the C. So it could have happened that the optimal point would be somewhere between Sicily and Sardinia, but as you will see, it's not the case. So let's start with the solo results. For the solo duels, we had almost 7 million trials, and the optimal points were pretty well clustered around this area, not very far from San Marino actually. And when I tried to map it more or less with the actual map of Italy, I found that Florence, for example, would be a nice point of reference. So you don't want to go too far north because then you will be punished for Sicily, and you can't just Plonk Sicily every time because northern part is pretty wide, and there is a huge chance that you will get punished severely. And the points here in this area yield roughly 4,000 4,100 points if you Plonk there on average. So this is for the solo duels. If you don't have any info, just go somewhere around Florence and you should be good enough. Compare that to Rome, which many people just send. It's somehow like the default, always send the capital, and Rome is somewhere here where I am marking with my pointer. Note how the distance is quite significant, and Rome is suboptimal because you are way too far from the mountains. And then I ran the same code for duos, finding two optimal points. What do I do in team duels? And I was expecting that the optimal point for the second player would be somewhere in the sea, hedging the two islands, or just it would be somewhere far south, but apparently that's not the case. So, as you can see, the biggest hedge in a sense would be on player one, like the northern player, hedging the entire northern part of Italy, and player 2 is kinda hedging optimally for southern Italy and the two big islands. While the points are pretty well clustered for the northern player, for the southern it's not such a clear result. If I zoom in, you might be able to see there are some purple points here. In a sense, optimal points for the second player were stretched around like this line, let's say around the coast. So even though I marked the center of that distribution, the distribution was pretty fuzzy. But still, it's pretty clear that you shouldn't go for the ocean itself, for the sea, I mean, itself, and instead just stick to this part of the coast. And again, to give a point of reference, the northern point is more or less close to Parma, maybe a little bit to the east of Parma, and the southern point is pretty much stretched among Naples, Sorrento, and Salerno, so somewhere around here. And plonking these 2 points yields roughly 4,200 or maybe even a bit more points on average, given enough trials. So the key takeaway is that you don't send the C. You will be kind of punished for that. Instead, you just go with Naples area, and it should be good enough to cover most points. And I forgot to mention we had around 6,600,000 trials. So It's not like we ran like a couple hundred points. No, the code has been running for almost 2 weeks by now. So I hope this makes it more or less clear. And again, as usual, please feel free to reach out with any comments, any recommendations, any requests. Which country should we do next, for example? And see you in the next video.